61 of Minnesota. They throw it away. Murray three. Got it! A big-time three!
We love that. Keep talking that. That's what we like. Well, I love it.
The Indiana Pacers have evened this best-of-7 series at 2 as they head to New York City for Game 5 on Tuesday night.
So we've all heard the term pivotal Game 5 over and over and again. What does that actually mean? This is what it means, right? The team that takes Game 5 when the series is tied at 2 apiece takes the series 82% of the time. I got a lot of 82s on my college papers, so I think that's an okay thing, right? All right, let's start with the Timberwolves here, right? They want to get that 82. They want to at least get a B in this game, right? After winning the first 2 games, they've now dropped the last 2, and I don't know what more he can do. He's coming off scoring 44. That's his best postseason performance, the best in Wolves franchise history. Is there more that he can do for this team, Austin?
Nah, and you got to be careful.
He's like, let me take this. Yep.
Go
ahead.
And you got to be careful because to whom much is given, much is required.
Okay.
So you have the keys to the car, but you also got to make sure some other people get in with you. You know what I'm saying? So as he's doing what he does, he has to make sure guys still stay involved, guys like McDaniels and the other guys. What I will say is KAT got to step up. KAT got to step up. 23 points a game in the wins, 13 and a half in the losses. That's like a 10-point difference right there. KAT has to step up. And I want to see some McDaniels. I saw him a lot in Phoenix. You need an X factor.
Good point.
2 tight games, 2 evenly matched teams. X factors are the guys that's going to win this for you. We know what he's going to do. We know what Joker going to do. We know what Murray going to do. But when you have Aaron Gordon step up like nobody expected last game,
oh my gosh,
that's what you can't game plan for. That's what you can't script for. We need a McDaniels. We need somebody to step up.
That's a great point
or
about
OG.
McDaniels.
Oh, how about Conley?
And to that point, Mike Conley,
yes.
This could be huge.
Yes.
He is questionable for tonight's game with Achilles tightness. So hopefully he's okay.
No, not when you our age.
Yeah, you don't play.
Not when you our age.
I'm about to say, Mike.
Not when you our age.
Be careful, Mike. I think Carl and Rudy. I need Carl to be a star. We talked about it this year. This is a guy who made the All-Star game over Sabonis. Has been a multi-year All-Star, and he gets paid for it. And,
a lot of money.
Not that he's played bad. He's played pretty solid, but in a game where you've lost 2 in a row and you're on the road tonight, I need him to have a huge impact. Aaron Gordon's been able to guard him pretty fairly well. So I need him to be more aggressive, get to the line, not settle just on only the tee-up threes. And then I need Gobert to play some defense. You know what I mean? He won his 4th Defensive Player of the Year, rightfully so. That's the broski, too. I love Rudy. And he's a legend. So, you want to see that. I want to see that tonight. I want to see him guard Nikola because he's had his way.
Yes.
I understand that having AG bring the ball up, it's putting him in different situations.
Right.
But when you're the best defensive player, arguably ever, you should be able to make those adjustments. So I count on Rudy having a big game tonight defensively.
Taking it a little bit personally as well. We were talking, Brian, in studio in the break about, I said it feels maybe a little bit to me like this is the season for the Timberwolves tonight. I'm not sure I feel like it is the season for the Denver Nuggets. What do you think?
Well, I think it's going to be very hard to win 3 games on the road for either of these teams in this series. So if you're Denver, I think you've got to pay attention to that 82%. Assuming that you can go back to Minnesota and win in a closeout game, I don't like those chances. So Denver's going to have to go into that. And if you're Minnesota, I think there's 2 things that you need to focus on tonight.
Okay.
One, Jamal Murray has really, really been a difference maker the last 2 games when they made some adjustments to the way they were running the pick and roll. They've got to get back to their aggression in the pick and roll with Jamal Murray to force them out of their offense. Those games in Denver, I know Jamal was banged up, but that's a big thing. The other thing is the Timberwolves are never going to be a great offensive team. They might have great offensive nights, but they're going to need team-wide help on Anthony Edwards. That means everybody, not just Karl Towns, not just Rudy Gobert. They've got to scrap for every point. Those have got to be the 2 big focuses because Minnesota is a terrific defensive team. If I'm going to gamble on them, I'm going to believe in their defense. I don't always believe in their offense. That's the variable that can be huge in a road game like this.
Before we move on, Anthony Edwards, it is his 3rd outing in the postseason. And you played with a guy who led a team to a championship in his 3rd postseason in Dwyane Wade. Ann has asked us to stop with the Michael Jordan comparisons. We're not going to do it. I don't want to add another Hall of Famer to the list, but it's hard not to see some of the similarities, at least in the mentality.
Oh, for sure. And this relationship goes back. I mean, Tom Crean, who coached, D. Wade also coach Anthony Edwards. So
Yeah.
this relationship goes back in the mentality. Yes, he has the killer instinct. Talk way more than D. Wade. D. Wade ain't talk as much, but he has the killer instinct. The way that his team embodies his personality. And he's a shot blocking guard, which Dwyane did well. I think they said Dwyane was 6'4". He probably was about 6'3". But he's a shot blocking guard like Dwyane. So I see the similarities. And when he attacked the paint, you don't want to get in his way. All gas, no brakes, just like Dwyane when he gets downhill. So I see those similarities, but I'm careful to compare those things because Dwyane won.
Yep.
He still hasn't won yet. He still has a lot of time.
And knowing Ant, he would say the same thing. He would say, don't put me in that conversation. I want to win too.
I think they're so focused on us. They collapse the paint very well. When we both drive it, they collapse the paint, or almost 5 guys. So I think that's been difficult for us. We just got to find open teammates. Just go next game. It's 1st to 4. Stay humble, stay ready. And it's same as after game 1. You get ready, see mistakes you make, and go on.
So looking at the box score, Luka posted a triple-double, but he kind of struggled, right, to get there. It's not just about the numbers you finished with. He had more turnovers than made shots, missing massive free throws late. So, Brian, how worried are you about Luka and the Mavs now that this is really a best-of-3 series here and he doesn't look fully healthy?
Well, I want to say I'm worried about him, but as a compliment to the Thunder. Because the Thunder have absolutely played a really interesting game plan here. They have basically decided they're going to camp on Luka and Kyrie Irving, and if the role players beat them, go ahead and beat them. Now, that backfired on them in games 2 and 3 with P.J. Washington hitting all those shots. But you know what? Last night, Kyrie took 11 shots and P.J. Washington took 19. That's a victory. Now, you may say that Luka is obviously hurting, and there's no doubt about that. His knee seems to be bothering him. He was fiddling with that right knee throughout the game. He had 7 turnovers and 6 baskets. That is unheard of. But it's also partially because Lou Dort absolutely shut down Brandon Ingram in the last series. He's been doing a great job on Luka. He had 2 fouls 3 minutes into this game, played the whole game essentially with foul trouble. They've had a great game plan. They've had great defense, and they have a killer closer. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, that game last night, it may have been the first time he ever did it in the second round of the playoffs. He's had that game over and over and over, both this season and with the last several years, going to the mid-range, showing no signs of pressure, going to his teammates when they double teamed him, trusting them. This was a classic Shai game, classic Thunder game plan, and obviously Luka needs to feel better, but the Thunder are doing a lot of things correct in this series.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of harp on the Mavs. It was a weird game, just due to the fact that at no point did it feel like Kyrie or Luka turn on that takeover button. And these are guys historically known for taking over games. You know what I mean? Like, Luka's a great closer, and we all know what Kai can do, right? And it just floated on until the point where it got weird to where Shai was just like, okay, let me take the game over. And P.J. Washington held it down for them for 3 quarters?
Right.
He was playing well again. So, I mean, I don't know if that's late. I don't want to put that on the blame, but Kyrie's got to find a way to get the ball. Luka's got to find a way to be aggressive, or if he doesn't have it going, rely on Kai. But they needed him last night. That was a pivotal game. You could have went up 3-1. They just felt like it looked like a regular season ending. Like, they were just floating around and Shai and them just went and took it.
In a playoff, you got to win any kind of way. You got to win in the mud. You got to win blowout games. You got to win tight games. You got to win any kind of way. So in a game where your best players didn't play well and you still had a chance to win, I'm sure Dallas has got to be kicking themselves right now. How do they respond to this mentally going back to OKC? Because that was a game they could have won, even with their stars not being at full strength.
Real quick, UD, I know we say you got to see it to believe it. It's easier to know what you've seen before. We haven't seen Shai do this in the playoffs before. Do you have confidence that he can be the best player the rest of the series?
Facts. I believe in habits. I believe in habits, and he has the habits. They have the habits as a team. What they are doing now is how they've been playing all year. As a young team, sharing the ball, defending well, letting Shai finish games, X factor stepping up when they have to. So what they're doing now, they've proven this all season. I'm not one of those guys that say we haven't seen it before. We haven't seen it in the playoffs, but we've seen it before. They built the habits, and like I said earlier, what's inside you reveals itself. They got the habits, they got a Gator coach. The coach is a Gator.
There you go. The Thunder is in the forecast. New York Knicks, they're back in the Garden. We keep saying it for a pivotal Game 5. Who you got in this one, UD? Know that Kendrick Perkins is courtside. If that's going to sway.
They got the mayor. They call him the mayor now.
I'm going with the Knicks.
All right.
I'm going with the Knicks. I'm going with the gritty guys. I'm going with the dogs tonight.
I'm going to the Knicks, too. Yeah, I think JB has a big-time game back at home. Listen, the Garden going to be electric.
Yep, it's going to be electric. I just wonder, again, health. It remains such a concern for this New York Knicks team. All right, the second game of the night also tied up a 2-2 series going back to Denver for Game 5. However, the road teams, they have won out. You don't see this too often, Austin. So who's going to take it between Anthony Edwards and Nikola Jokic?
I'm going with the Joker. I love Ant-Man. That's my guy, but I got to go with Denver on this one.
I gotta go with Minnesota tonight. They got a little. They got on their high horse the first couple games, and they was listening to all the noise from the outside.
Yep.
I think they get back on balance tonight.
What Ant say? He said, we like that talking, right?
Yeah, exactly. There's something about that environment that he likes. Well, when two men disagree, the next word is bet or ESPN bet. Get into the playoff intensity with ESPN bet. New users get a bet reset up to $1,000 in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. The official sportsbook of ESPN is the only place to find exclusive offers from your favorite ESPN shows and personalities throughout the playoffs. You can download today.
Like he lost that bet.